reason I was bringing this up wasn't to get too bogged down on that. It was around, I think the issue with your logic, I understand it in set scenarios, but I think every single manager this summer in the Premier League will probably miss out on one, maybe two of their number one targets. The problem is with your logic is that means all 20 or 19 or 18 managers could all walk out of their jobs this summer. And that just isn't practical in reality.
I'll tell you, at the end of the day, right, every single team at the start of the season starts on 0 points, yeah? Every single team at the start of the season, right, has the aim to go and win something. There's 4 trophies to win if you're in Europe, 3 if you're not, yeah? At the end of the season, we see Everton the other day, and I know I'm slightly going off topic, but it's getting to my point. We see Everton fans jubilant and jumping around like idiots outside Goodison Park. Oh, it's a miracle. We've stayed in the league. Why are you celebrating staying up on the last day of the season? Yeah, like it's ridiculous, pathetic. And it's the same with these football managers. The way football's gone, I know you're not going to get every single target you want in the transfer window. But if you're big Man United and you can't go and bully other teams for their players, then the manager should be calling that out and saying, well, they didn't give me what I want. That ain't on me. That's on them. So sorry, mate. You ain't giving me the tools for me to do my job properly here. I can only do it to a certain level. I can't get to the level that I want to get to and to bring Man United back to. So see you later. Yeah, I know it's slightly different at other clubs because other clubs are only there for the TV money. They're not interested in winning anything. Yeah, but for example, Brentford. If Brentford don't get their targets this summer and they get nobody or targets that are way below the first, second choice targets, then Thomas Frank should be calling it out. Yeah, it doesn't matter what football club it is. If you don't get your first or second choice and you're left short to be able to do what you want to achieve with that football club and get that football club to where it should be, then you should be calling it out and walking. That's the same in any job, Terry. If you were working at Barclays,
I understand.
If you was working at Barclays and you weren't getting the backing of your bosses to be able to do your job to the best of your ability, you'd be calling it out.
Of course I would, but
there you go then.
Again, but let me ask, but there isn't. There you go. I understand your logic. The problem is with your logic. In reality, it doesn't work because I would argue, and I bet if you spoke to most fans of most clubs who follow, me and you don't follow Brentford like a Brentford fan because that's not the area of YouTube in terms of clubs we cover. But you'll find that most of our clubs are going to miss out on. They may sign a striker, they may sign a centre back in a position that's got a hole in it. They may not get their number one targets. My point is, I think most managers and most clubs every summer will miss out, even if they have great summers, still miss out on a number one target or a player or two.
And they won't.
But if that means that they're going to call out and fall out with owners and then walk away, no manager is ever going to create their own team. No manager or club is ever going to create continuity because the managers will consistently be resigning because you might have 3 clubs all going for the same target. 2 of them are going to miss out, which means 2 managers quit their jobs. In reality,
you misunderstood what I said. If let's say 3 clubs are going in for Harry Kane this summer.
Yeah.
Let's say Arsenal, Man United, and say Liverpool, just for Liverpool's sake. Just say them 3. But he ends up going to Man United. But then Arsenal don't go and buy a striker.
Mm-hmm.
And we go with Eddie Nketiah again and Jesus again. Yeah, and Liverpool just go with Núñez and who's their backup striker? I don't even know their backup striker. I don't even think they've got one. They're letting Firmino go, aren't they? But let's just say they go with Núñez. Yeah, then both of them clubs should be calling it out. Yeah, they should be calling it out.
Calling it out and quitting or what?
They should be calling it out and saying, listen, you haven't given me a striker to challenge for a title. We wanted Harry Kane. How comes Harry Kane's gone to Man United?
So I understand that. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. The problem that you have with this, and I've called out my employers in the past when I feel like, so when I worked in a certain department of Barclays, I didn't feel I had enough staff members, numbers, bums on seats, but I didn't have enough quality. I called it out. What I didn't do is call it out in front of that team and damage their confidence or upset them. What would be wrong with Mikel Arteta in the example you gave would be you don't get Harry Kane when you want him and you end up with Ramos from Benfica, but you don't think he's good enough. If you sit there in a press conference and say, I'm fuming that Man United have gone and got Harry Kane, we've ended up with a substandard striker, how is that going to help your team's confidence to have the best season possible?
Terry.
How's that going to help you?
You're talking about...
Or do you think that's helping?
Number one, it's raising the standards. Yeah, because the team has fallen short of winning the title, i.e. Man United, Arsenal and Liverpool didn't win it, did they? And I'm talking about them 3 clubs going for Harry Kane, for example, yeah? Now you haven't got Harry Kane, but only one of them clubs has. So there's 2 clubs that fell short anyway. Man City, are going to strengthen anyway and can get anyone they want. Yeah, because it's Man City. They pay good money and they've got a great manager. So you're going to want to go and play for them. They win titles. So how is it going to damage anything? You fell short, yeah, and you're calling it out that you didn't get your primary target, and I'm calling this out. That's not going to, if that's going to damage the morale of the team, well, sorry, the team ain't fucking got it. They ain't got it anyway.
Fair enough. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I just think that, again, your logic makes sense in isolated circumstances, but for it to be the general way that managers behave, always attacking their squads if they're not completely happy with it, quitting jobs if they're not getting their number one targets. And we've seen examples in the past of Jurgen Klopp and Pep not getting their number one targets, not getting players they want. You could name a lot of Peps. Some of them haven't actually turned out to be very good. Fred, Maguire, Jorginho, whoever else. He's missed out on loads of targets. If he was to slag off his owners every time that happened and or quit, City wouldn't be on the edge of completing 5 league titles in 7 years and a treble. I think what you're saying works in certain circumstances. If it's summer after summer after summer, and they keep missing out on your main targets, and they keep buying substandard players for you, I think then you've got a point. But I think for it to be the general rule that if you get 3 of the number one targets but miss out on one of them, you should be calling that out publicly, damaging relationships and walking out on your job. I think you're cutting off your nose to spite your face slightly. I think there needs to be
I'll give you a good example here.
In terms of that.
Borussia Dortmund, they've just finished second on goal difference,
right,
to Bayern Munich. So what they're doing? They're letting all their players go. That manager should walk. Yeah, that manager should say, see you later. Yeah, you're letting Bellingham go. You're letting this guy, Dadoud or Damoud or whatever his name is, you're letting him go for free. There'll be other players that are being linked to moves, and they're going to strip that whole squad back. They're going to go and try and do it on the cheap again, and then Bayern will win 12 in a row. Yeah, anyone who takes that Borussia Dortmund job should be demanding before they even take it. Yeah, but maybe he did get told, like, Jude Bellingham's not going anywhere. We're not accepting anything. We're going to... And now they come second. Even if they had finished first, they still would be swapping most of them players. Yeah, and that is rife in maybe 99.9% of football clubs on the planet. They do not do the optimum to keep competing or challenging to be the very best. And that is why I get the ump with these football managers, Terry, because I don't even know who the manager of Borussia Dortmund is. Yeah, but he should walk now. The day Bellingham leaves that football club, he should be walking. Yeah, that's a joke. Yeah, and they're going to get that 100 million. They won't reinvest that 100 million properly. They're going to buy 3 or 4 youngsters, pocket the change. Yeah, they'll make another one look great, sell him in 3 years' time for 100 million, and do it all over again without actually winning anything. So he should walk. And this is the same in the Premier League, right? And the reason I'm mentioning Borussia Dortmund, because they do it year in, year out, yeah? It's the same at Premier League clubs. The Premier League is known as the biggest and most watched football league in the world, yeah? The prize money for finishing bottom, Southampton just got 100 million for being the worst team in the league. That's more than the winner of the Bundesliga has just got.
I understand.
And these teams, like, I'll give another example. Luton, they got 200 million quid for coming up. How much of that they're going to spend? Probably not all of it. So they're going to pocket the money. They'll get relegated. If they get relegated straight away, they get a parachute payment of 50 million. So now they've made $250 million for doing nothing, right? And this is why I get the ump with Premier League managers, especially. You've got Brighton doing it. You've got other clubs doing it. They'll go and buy a player for 5 million quid. They'll go and sell him for 30, 40, 50 million quid. They won't reinvest all of that money, plus the TV money, plus the merit rights and all the income that they get. And then they do it all over again. Why are they not trying to compete? Why are they not holding their club accountable? Why are they not saying to the owners of these clubs or the board and directors of these clubs, actually, I want Brighton to be in the title race next season. And people might sit there and laugh at me saying this. You're laughing at me saying it. Why can't they?
So I'll tell you why I don't think they can. I think
they made £80 million profit.
I'll tell you why I think they can. In terms of Brighton as a football club, I was looking at this the other day. So they turn over a year. This is turnover, not profit. £174 million a year. That is about the average that Man City spend on just players per summer. That's their turnover. In terms of profits, they only made, in the last financial accounts that were done in 2002 for Brighton, they only made £24 million profit. And that's £24 million profit off the back of 174 million turnover.
What's their wage bill?
Hang on a minute. Let me finish. Up until this point in the Premier League, they've made a loss nearly every single year. So their club has been it's not rubbish. The year before that, They had a loss the year before that in the financial year, they lost £53 million, which means they've invested more into their club and into their team than they were turning over. But you cannot continue as a business to make losses every single year in your team, because eventually you'll be liquidated. You have to make an element of profit. So they should be demanding to keep improving and to keep moving forward. But Brighton can't go with £174 million a year turnover. They cannot go into the market and start signing players at the level that Man United and Arsenal and Liverpool and City can. However, they've got great young players. And you go, well, give them better contracts and keep them. Equally, when clubs start offering Caicedo's 200 grand a week, maybe in a year's time, they start offering Enciso 150, 200 grand a week. If they started matching those salaries and they suddenly have 5, 6, 7 players earning that, again, even with the Premier League money, they wouldn't have enough income to sustain that amount of wages. What they need to do, and where you're right, but again, you're just someone that looks at things as, you should do it now. They need to slowly build or steadily build their income over a period of time. And the more successful they get in terms of finishing higher in the league, as an example, means more TV revenue, yes. But then what they need to increase is their fan base size. That will in turn increase the level of sponsorships that they get. These things take time, generally speaking. There are some owners that can come in and speed that up, depending on who they are and their connections. I don't know who Tony Bloom knows around the world. So I think there is a little bit of a difference in this. I just want to make one point before we move on. This is the thing, though, about managers walking away if they don't get what they want. Before Mo Salah and Mane were signed at Liverpool by the board, not by Jurgen Klopp, he wanted Julian Brand and Goetze. But Jurgen Klopp didn't walk away, and he ended up winning the Premier League. He got to 2-3 Champions League finals. This is the point I would make. If Klopp would have left because he was told you're getting Salah and Mane and not Goetze and Julian Brand, would that have been the right action, in your opinion, from Jurgen Klopp to have walked away at that point?
Terry, if you don't get your targets, you should be calling it out and walking away. Yeah, you should be. That's it. Yeah, because they're not giving you... Listen, he's turned that into a great team. Fantastic. Well done. Yeah, and very quickly, just coming back to Brighton, I've just Googled this, yeah? Brighton's annual wage bill for the whole club, top to bottom, yeah, 46.8 million for the year.
Yep.
46 million. Yeah. So where's the other 130 million then?
So what you'll have...
income was 174. Well, where's the other 130 then?
So, I mean, break down their...
million in the summer.
Break down their... I mean, I haven't read through all their accounts in detail.
Their highest paid player is Lewis Dunk on 80 grand a week.
Right, okay.
Yeah, Caicedo's on 24 grand a week. That's after he's just signed the new deal. Yeah, Adam Lallana's on 70 grand a week, second top earner. Yeah, Trossard's no longer there. He was on 60 grand a week. Yeah, their wage bill, it says here, Brighton and Hove Albion total wage bill for 2023, including a total of 69 players across the club, yeah, is 46.8 million, which is 901 grand a week. So if they're taking in 174 million and they're shelling out 46 million, I know that's only wage bill and you've got other costs. I get that.
So what you'll get on top of that
wage costs are they're making a loss. Come on, Terry.
Hang on a minute. But what you've got to factor in, I mean, I'm not making this up. They're official accounts with Companies House.
Terry, if they're not going to put it on their accounts that they're making 500 billion profit in 5 years.
Hang on. So you think they're making profits like illegally and not declaring them?
Terry. No.
Answer my question.
You can do very separate accounting.
No. So are they making? So are they?
Go and Google the top KCs in the country. Go and Google the very top one. Go on Companies House.
I want to hear it.
You've asked me a question. Go on Companies House. No, you're going to keep shouting, or are you going to let me answer? You didn't answer my question.
Do you believe their accounts, or do you think they're lying in their accounts?
Oh, okay. So I'll answer the question now. Clever accounting, Terry. Go and have a look at the top KC, formerly QC. Go and have a look at that geezer's name. I've done it a couple of months ago. Go and have a look at his name. Type it into Companies House. Every single one of his companies, and he owns a lot of companies, every single one of that geezer's companies made the exact same to the penny amount of income last year. 17 grand, 154 quid.
But let me answer my question. So when they put a loss in of 53 million, you don't believe they actually made a loss, is what I'm asking you.
Terry, I'm not a fucking qualified accountant. What I do know is if somebody's bringing in 174 million and they're spending out less than 100 million or less than half of it.
I'll give you an example. The year that
where's the money?
Let me give you the year that the year on the accounts they're quoting, 45 million on wages. Okay.
Yeah.
75 million spent on players. That's 120 million. as an example.
No. Go and have a look at Brighton's income on player sales, mate. They make a profit pretty much every year.
Okay. So look, from my point of view, but that income, that player sales, is part of their turnover. The net spend ain't real. A club, when they say 174 million of turnover, that by the way, so in the departures in 2023, this recent last year, this is not included in anything on the internet because they haven't done this year's accounting. They sold 137 million pounds for players. If you then see their turnover at 220 million, 137 million of that was from player sales. Okay, so there's going to be bigger profits in the 2023 year because of the players.
28 million profit the year before last.
Yes.
Yeah. So why didn't they put the profit back in then? This is my point. Yeah,
because
my point.
Listen. I understand
in the profit.
I understand where you're coming from, but they can't operate at a loss. You're not allowed. Why don't you understand? They're not allowed to operate at a loss every year.
How are they operating at a loss every year when they've made a profit for the last two that I've just checked quickly in 2 minutes?
No,
I could go back to the next last five. I bet they've made a profit every year.
No, it doesn't. In 2021, 2021 and 2022 are the last two financial accumulated years for Brighton. In 2021, they made a deficit of 53 million. So 2 years ago,
they made a profit of 28 million, according to this, mate.
Not on Brighton's website. On Brighton's website, Lee. Fuck my boots.
There we go. There we go.
There's no there we go. It's the official details.
Yeah, the official details. Like I said, go and Google the top KC in the country. Go to company's house, copy and paste his name in. He owns a million trillion companies. And every single one of his companies, let me finish. Every single one of his companies. No, you don't. You're not letting me finish my point because it's about your point and not my point.
It's nothing to do with it. This is the official turnover here. What don't you? You're not answering me up my questions. What don't you believe about what Brighton have said?
Terry, I'm not arguing with what that's saying. You see, this is where you just talk over me, just to bully your point on top of me. I've agreed with them for that figure, 174 million. I've agreed with that, but you're shouting over me, so you don't get it.
You said they've made profit the last 2 years. They haven't. They made a loss.
Okay. Well, it's quite clearly says it here. 2021 Brighton accounts were the first since 2019 to include a 38-game Premier League season played in front of supporters following interruptions caused by COVID-19. This led to a £28 million increase in turnover, up from 146 million the year before, resulting in a profit. Now, it then says the following season, 174, which is what you're showing me. Now go and have a look. Yeah, go and have a look at the profits for both of them seasons, add them together, and tell me why they ain't invested that profit. Which is my point, but you want to make your point louder and shout over me to make me look a dickhead.
You're talking about again. You're changing.
I'm looking at it on here. This is on We Are Brighton website.
Lee. You're not listening to my overarching point. This isn't
because I can't get a word in. Take.
It's not about that. You're reframing the situation. You're saying they should compete with City. I'm saying they ain't got the money for it. I get your point that they should put that 28 million pound profit into the team. That isn't going to make them title challengers. That's your point. Hang on.
You know, your point was you got to do it baby steps. Well, if they'd put that 28 million quid profit in, then they might have finished top four and made more money to compete next season.
You can't run a business by continually losing and breaking even. You have to reinvest. If they can't find the right players, they have to make money.
How much money is he putting?
They have to make money. They have to make money because what you're ignoring is there'll be other areas of a football club that you have to invest in over time, a business. You can't just take it and go just on players, just on salaries. There are other areas, whether it be infrastructure, growing stadia, improving things. You need to invest in multiple areas, Lee. You can't just go spend it all on players. But you have to. You can't just ignore that. Anyway.